smell what the
Wilson
is cooking?
About the worst intro in radio right now. There it is, a pro athlete salute.
Everybody behind us, give the pro athlete salute. I give you permission to. Thank you.
Pro athlete salute all around the table, all around Boston Pizza downtown. Brought to you by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. And I'm outnumbered. Luke Wilson's here. My guy, Al's brothers.
He's on a cruise.
He's in the
This
Caribbean.
man, in the biggest week of the year for you, took a cruise.
He's on vacation.
Right. Well, he
got to say one thing to him next year. You got to say, Partsy, you cannot go on the cruise.
I know. During
Maybe
Pro Bowl
go
week.
in July.
I know. Pro Bowl week, man. He sets it up. He declines his Pro Bowl invitation. He jumps on a cruise.
You have to admit that is not a pro athlete move. Going on a cruise right where you need him.
I totally agree with you because I'm lost, man. My understanding is you guys, you're connecting, you're preparing for the Super Bowl.
We have been crunching numbers, and I'll let you in on a little secret. This whole time I've been back at the back here at Boston Pizza talking to Doogie. And Doogie's got a good play for us. That's all I'm going to say.
Handshake.
That's all. We had a second handshake.
Doogie,
It was not
what
photographed.
are you thinking?
It was not
Doogie?
photographed.
What are you thinking for the Super Bowl?
Oh, Doogie's,
he's sweating. He's sweating.
He's starting to really leak
Yeah.
oil here.
All right.
What do we have?
There may have been a handshake behind the scenes.
All right,
I love
Doogie,
it.
Thank you.
I can't lie.
All right,
I can't
Doogie.
lie.
The Doogie desk has been established. He wants to be on TV
Doogie
so
desk.
badly.
The Doogie desk
my
is
God.
hot.
The Doogie
man.
desk is
Everybody
hot.
wants autographs.
Yeah.
It's hot.
I love it. Well, I mean, listen, we're going to be doing the spread, and as of right now on FanDuel, it's stuck at 1.5. Like, do you expect that to move one way or the other? You got Niners minus 1.5 on FanDuel. Do you think that's going to move, or I think it probably stays
right
there.
around there. Maybe half a point here or there.
How are the Niners favored, though?
I'm not sure. That's what scares me
Brock
because I have
Purdy.
a feeling that we're going to be on the spread, and it almost seems too easy. You know, it seems too easy that for me right now, giving the Chiefs points is absurd. I mean, what they just did going into Baltimore.
Insane.
I mean, they've beat Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore. All of them, I thought they controlled the entire game. The Buffalo game was back and forth. You got to, I want to make sure I'm clear on that. But you look at the Niners, should have lost to Green Bay, should have lost to Detroit.
Yeah. You know what? I've just been looking. I'm on the FanDuel Sportsbook app right now. It's bet back up towards San Fran. It's up to minus 2.5.
Looks like a good day for Timo and Wilson.
I agree. I mean, this would be the time to get on there and hammer it if you like points.
Yeah.
And you're looking for Mahomes. I mean, who knows what the number is going to be by next week when we make the pick. But that would suggest people are starting to lean on San Francisco because you're right. Like, when you look at the Niners, like, they squeeze past the Lions. They squeeze past Green Bay. But on the flip side, albeit on the road, wide right against Buffalo.
Yes.
Last week, they went 17-10 because Lamar, I think, really choked in the second half in particular.
Yes.
Not that the Chiefs don't deserve flowers, but I think to be fair to the Chiefs, if you're going to say that about the Niners, there is something you can qualify with the way the Chiefs have been playing this year as well.
Agreed. And what I thought was the strangest thing and what will scare me or potentially jam up Timo and Wilson, assuming we take the Chiefs, is the Chiefs' run defense has been very kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You look at their game against Buffalo, they gave up 182 yards in the ground. I was nervous because we were on the Chiefs. I'm like, man, Baltimore's going to come out here and run for 200. You know, they have so many guys that can run. Edwards is more of a thumper. Justice Hill's more of a speed guy. Lamar himself is obviously an electric runner. They came out here, held Justice Hill to 3, Gus Edwards to 20, and total yards rushed were 81. So, like, I look at that, and I'm like, if they can replicate that performance against the Niners and Christian McCaffrey, and then Steve Spagnuolo, their D coordinator, is going to have a million different looks, coverages, pressures, blitzes, get the second-year guy in Brock Purdy confused once, he throws a pick, that could be the difference.
Yeah.
But if they go out here and CMC runs for 130, then that line's going to be looking real nice if you're on the Niners.
Partsy, what's the recipe, or is there one? I mean, you had a game against the Pats that ended in an outrageous way.
Outrageous.
But, like, when you got the boogeyman involved, and it used to be Brady, now it's Mahomes, is there something that's just got to be mandatory, or is it just you're rolling the dice and you just pray that the guy just isn't out of his mind and beat you?
To me, it's almost like, and I know this is a bit strange, but you've still got to play your game. And I always think, like, that play, that, like, obviously I've had a lot of time to reflect on our second Super Bowl, and I've always felt like part of the reason it all went down was because of this boogeyman vibe. Like, okay, they got Brady over there. They also have Belichick. Like, is Belichick, going to outsmart us here? And then all of a sudden it's like you start thinking, he's brilliant. He's got some trick up his sleeve. When
It's not the case.
it's not the case. It's like just go do what's got us there. What's going to win us the game, which for me was handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. But again, we'll stop there at that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, obviously you got to prep for Patty Mahomes, but it can't consume you that you just change your identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandably, absolutely.
Outside of this, we were talking about it last hour. You're there that early.
Yes.
You get an opportunity. Did they say, hey, we're going to have a team meal. You guys can, have a few
One
beers.
green light
Is there
special.
one
Yes,
green
yes.
light, maybe 6 days before
Yes, so-
type of thing?
How we did it, I think
Right.
most teams do this, is generally when you have, let's call this week for teams like somewhat of a bye week.
Right.
When we went both years, Pete came in Monday. We kind of watched the film from the NFC Championship, and he said, hey, this is not a vacation week. We got a Super Bowl. This is the plan. We're going to prep this Sunday, so the one coming up here is the game. We're going to put everything in. We're going to practice like we're playing on Sunday. The schedule's the exact same. You should be ready to play the Super Bowl on Sunday. Everything else next week is gravy because there's so many distractions. And then when we got to, I want to say New York was a little bit different because we were in New Jersey practicing. But when we got to Phoenix, I can vividly remember we land on Sunday kind of late. And then Monday's just not a fluff around practice, but, just get the legs off the plane type thing. And Tuesday is off, like a normal week. So Monday night, I want to say it was a place called Bottled Blonde.
That sounds right.
It was an electric atmosphere. I remember, just showing face, just saying hello, seeing
Yeah.
who was in there. That's,
Yeah.
But the
Take a
message
peek.
has got to be, don't even think about doing something stupid.
Yeah, I think at that part it was, but you'd be surprised. A lot of guys push the envelope.
Yeah.
But, we did it pretty much without getting in trouble. So we didn't obviously win the one in Phoenix, but
You made it there.
It was a little strange, too, because I look, talking about that type of vibe,
Right.
the craziest party teams, and we didn't do anything too outrageous, but the craziest party teams I were on were the 2 Super Bowl teams.
Yeah.
Guys
were tight.
Yes, and I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
Where it was for us, how the general week worked was Wednesday was a full day, Thursday was a full day, Friday was a half day, and it's taken off to hey, spend time with your family. You've been at the facility for basically all day, 2 days in a row, etc. Where the year we won the Super Bowl, Friday night, it was time to go nuts, and you had a core group of guys that really played a lot.
Yeah.
That were just ripping it up, and you'd see them Saturday mornings walk through. It was T-shirts, tennis shoes, and it was straight to the steam room afterwards.
So you're talking
The
30.
Friday before the Super Bowl?
Yeah, you're saying 36 hours before kickoff.
More
You're
so
doing-
before games, NFC Championship.
I see, okay.
The Super Bowl is a little different because you don't really have it's not your facility. But it wouldn't surprise me if some of the guys it's a weird game, I think, for football people to conceptualize, because a lot of it guys don't want to take it too serious because they'll be too amped up, whatever. So I think, again, each guy's different, but there was a lot of guys that play with the Friday night would go rip it up.
What was your mindset like? Were you kind of this is the biggest moment in my life, I got to be ultra serious? Or did you say, I just got to relax and do this thing?
Okay, so for the first, it was kind of different for me because the first one I was our second stringer, and the second one I was the main guy, and I knew I was playing way more. The first one, and this is not BS, I sat with my parents in the hotel lobby Saturday night. My dad was all fired up, as I think any dad would be.
Yeah.
And he says, what do you think the score is going to be tomorrow? And we're playing Peyton Manning. We're playing the Broncos. They just broke every offensive NFL record. And I said, Dad, I'm not kidding. Super Bowl was 2 weeks ago. We're going to blow this team out of the water. And he looked at me come on. And I'm I'm telling you, just matchup-wise and the way their offense ran and how we ran our defense, I was there's one guy that can keep this game close, and his name was, I believe it was Terrence Knighton. He went by Pot Roast. He was a D tackle. It was a very, very large human being. And all week, the saying was
You have to be if your nickname
Pot
roast.
it was if we can handle Pot Roast, we will score, and this offense will not do very well against our defense. So that Super Bowl for me, again, Zach Miller was doing a lot of the blocking. I'm I got to come in, maybe catch a couple of balls, play well on punt team, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The second one was a little tougher because I was our main guy, and also Bill Belichick had so many wrinkles in his defense where it was not a, hey, line up and play. It was like, we might throw this on him. We might do this. Like, Luke, man coverage might be on you with a cornerback, which no one really does. You know, for me, I'm used to linebackers or safeties. So there was a lot of X's and O's to prep for and kind of going into it knowing, like, hey, I'm probably going to get 60 snaps tomorrow. That one I was a lot more serious.
Luke Willson joining us around the table. We're live at Boston Pizza downtown, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. This past week has been all about Mahomes versus Brady, and that's the world we live in. I personally think it's completely out of control.
It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely absurd, and the slander
Yeah, you love it.
I love talking about it, but what I've noticed is it's this pendulum swing where it's like 99-1. Mahomes is the greatest.
Which is absurd.
Absolutely
man.
absurd.
Forget.
They've completely forgotten. But this is not a LeBron and Jordan thing where LeBron is still playing in 2024 and MJ was peaking in 93 or 94.
Right.
These guys played against each other
It's
in a
a
Super
ring
Bowl.
thing. One guy's got 7.
Well, and furthermore, they played each other twice, and Brady cooked them twice. Like, Brady won both games.
I agree with that, and I'm definitely on both of your sides.
Not
but
saying like Mahomes isn't great,
no,
obviously.
100%.
And maybe
Yes.
in 10 years he does hold that mantle, but he does not hold it today.
It's
There's
not
no
even
chance.
close.
It cannot happen.
And beyond the rings, it's not like Brady just like, hey, I snuck in 7 rings.
Right.
The stats, everything. Like, to me, if you want to look at, okay, Mahomes' 4, 5, 6-year run, sure, you can say it's one of the best quarterback runs. But there's other quarterbacks outside of Brady in that conversation as well.
Right.
So it's like, if you're looking career to career, everyone, not just Mahomes, has light years before. Like, Mahomes has to keep this pace up for another decade.
Right.
Not like 2 years, another decade.
I saw it today that he needs to average for like 12 more years, like 5,000 yards a year and like 35 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Just health alone.
Ridiculous.
Health
Yeah,
alone.
just health alone.
Exactly.
Correct.
And everyone's like, well, he's trending there. Great.
Yeah,
he's not
agreed.
there yet.
Not there.
It's not
though.
even close.
No, he's not.
And that's not taking anything away from him.
Of course not. He's incredibly clutch. He's clearly the best player in football
Correct.
today. But
Correct.
Brady did it. Brady did it in 3 different chapters. He did the first one when he got there, then the second one, which was like against Atlanta and the Rams in Seattle, and then he goes to Tampa and he does it in Tampa. Like, that's 3 chapters. Mahomes is still on his first.
I couldn't agree more. I don't know where it comes from. There's a lot of things right now that I'm like, the Brock Purdy haters, the Brady versus Mahomes stuff. I'm just like, who is creating these narratives when they're just like, they're baseless?
It's content creators.
Yes.
That's what it is, because you turn on a show or whatever and saying, well, who is it? Is it Brady or is it Mahomes? And so then we start arguing, and then everybody has to weigh in on it. That's what it is. If whoever's creating the content just said, well, it's Brady, nothing to see here, we're not talking about it.
And what's amazing is that you got a guy like Joe Montana standing there saying, wait a minute, I went 4-0, and I was the guy before Brady arrived.
Correct.
And
Right.
Brady didn't pass me, quote-unquote, until he was like 38.
Yes.
Right.
Like, everyone was like, you're not passing Joe when you only have 3. You got to pass
Yes.
that guy.
And
Mahomes has just skipped over Joe Montana.
which he shouldn't,
He
again.
probably shouldn't either.
And it's not a shot at Mahomes.
No,
we keep
he's
saying
moving
this.
there. Like, good
But
for
it's
him.
like,
But
to me, at any position, in any sport, there's something to be said about greatness, which I think we saw in the first half last week. You see a lot with Patrick Mahomes. But there's another level to it when you can sustain it over a period of a decade or that sort of thing. And that's
Right.
where these other guys, Montana, Brady, have been able to do.
yes, absolutely. And listen, you're looking at a game this weekend where there are GOAT conversations or ramifications in terms of the future. You know, if Mahomes gets another one, all right, you're chipping away. If
Yeah.
Kelsey gets
I
another
got one for you, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid, absolutely.
Reid.
I think, from a Niners perspective, you look at Christian McCaffrey, like I'm on FanDuel right now. This cat is minus 220 anytime touchdown score. You got to pay minus 220 juice in the Super Bowl, and it feels like it's basically a lock.
Yeah.
It's like free money.
Free money.
Because I think he's going to get into the end zone.
Of course.
Like, even with what you just said about the Chiefs and the run defense and how stout it can be, this cat feels like a different beast.
100%.
And, like, where is he trending in terms of, like, Mount Rushmore running backs, top 5? Can he get into that conversation with some of the all-time greats?
So this is another strange one. And like, this is a part of what I have a gripe with football is, and you talk about analytics, we've talked about this a lot, but it's like, it's not baseball. And what I mean by that is we don't play that many games. It's not hockey. Hockey, you guys play
Right.
82 games. We play for the most part 16, now 17. So I look at McCaffrey in just this offense, and obviously he's been an absolute star. Okay, arguably the best offensive player in the NFL. But then you compare that to a guy like Barry Sanders, who, and again, Barry's my childhood hero, so I'm gonna put that bias out there.
Yeah.
But the man rushed for 2,000 yards. You know, the man sat there and left his, not prime, but 9 years in, easily could be the number one guy ever as far as total yards go in his offense and that style of play. Where right now McCaffrey has good yards, but he's never been close to 2,000 rush yards. You know, coming out of they use him out of the backfield to catch the ball. They also have Debo. They also have so many other weapons that it's not just like, hey, McCaffrey's going to get 40 touches a game.
Right.
That's
exactly.
where it gets weird with stats and putting him in the greatness levels.
And that probably speaks to the evolution of the game, too,
Yes.
right? Like, those guys weren't, like, like Barry Sanders, you would assume, like, if he played today, he would have probably 1,200 yards receiving.
Oh, for
like
sure.
He you know, like, I guess Marshall Faulk kind of changed the game in that area. And then all of a sudden, the rest has been history for the most part. I mean, you have to be able to catch out of the backfield. Luke Willson joining us around the table. Dan Quinn down in Washington. Last time we saw him,
you're
going to
get me going. You're going to get me going because
the Cowboys got cooked against my Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur went in there and absolutely danced around Dan
Just
Quinn.
for the PR move alone, and I don't know the guy. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
I love the guy.
I get it.
Yes.
But didn't you think they would try to make more of a splash for their fan base? And I don't know if that's the right thing to do or wrong thing to do. And I don't know if Quinn is that guy.
Yes.
But the Twitter, the
People
reaction.
There's some abuse there.
It was weird, too, because to me, I thought DQ would have been one of the favorites for the Seahawk job. And then all of a sudden it's like the Hawks go with Mike McDonald. And, like, the next day it's like, oh, DQ, like, again, I haven't texted DQ. This is my own opinion here. But it's like it kind of looks like, hey, I was hoping to get the Seattle job. Didn't happen, so I guess I'll take the Commanders. To me, like, from the outside looking in.
Right, from his standpoint.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I understand, like, even right now, everybody in Seattle is loving this Mike McDonald hire, except for probably me. And
what do you have against, like, he's coming from Baltimore. He was their DC. They had a magical year.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I'll
he's
start
young.
with that hire.
He's
But
a 36-year-old kid,
Yeah,
right?
he's very
Hate
young.
coordinator.
Just
But
hate coordinators.
to me, it's like they got rid of Pete. Pete's a defensive guy. That's what he is.
Yeah.
You know, he was one of the masterminds behind the Legion of Boom with Dan Quinn.
Yep.
Okay, I would put obviously Gus Bradley in there as well. But now all of a sudden you get rid of Pete, who's like an electric culture guy, who is a defensive-minded coach. You've got an offense with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, JSN, who was really balling towards the end of the year, Kenneth Walker, running back, Charbonnet, Fant's a free agent. I'm hoping they sign him back. But, like, weapons-wise, these guys got it. I've played with Geno Smith. His arm is electric. I'm telling you, and he's committed, and he's a great, great locker room guy, and he's a sneaky athlete. So it's like the strength of your team is offense. You've been griping about offense forever. Go get Bobby Slowick.
Right.
Go somehow convince Ben Johnson to leave Detroit. You know, and take this weapons-filled offense and blow it up.
Right.
And then my next thing is like, and again, I'm starting to learn now that I think a lot of it was PR stunts. But it's like you talked about how we want to keep the culture that Pete Carroll created. Dan Quinn is Pete Carroll. I mean, he's the disciple.
Well, you don't fire him if you want to keep the culture.
Exactly. So it's just a weird scenario. And then you go to the Commanders, and I think part of the reason why they probably went with DQ is because, and again, I do know DQ, and I think the world of him. And I think that whole organization, from top to bottom, needs somebody in there that, one, can win football games, but two, also just be a stand-up guy and kind of have that flow throughout the front office all the way down. And Dan Quinn can do it. So I understand it's not the sexiest pick, but I'm telling you, I also think, you know, again, and this is bias here, but Dan Quinn goes to Atlanta, and out of all the teams I had played against, when we lost to Atlanta the year they went to the Super Bowl, that playoff game in Atlanta was the most ferocious, hungry, aggressive team I've ever played against. Like, I remember leaving that game and saying, for the first time really in my NFL career, I felt like we were physically beaten. We didn't beat ourselves.
Slapped.
Right.
Smacked.
Yeah.
Like, they were better than us, and that's just the reality of the situation. And obviously they have the monumental collapse I don't think they ever rebounded from that, and I can sympathize with that because we had a similar situation.
Yep.
He goes to Dallas, and yes, the last game was an abomination. But the work of art there was not. The body of work wasn't. I think he goes to the Commanders. I think he gets his team on the right track.
So with that being the case, now all the vacancies are filled. You got Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, Mike Vrabel. Like, these are massive names
Big
in the
stars,
NFL world,
yeah.
and they're all on the outside looking in. I don't know what that part
Might
would
be
have
a
been
more
paying.
enviable situation, though, because at the beginning of the year, 5 games in, someone would be dying to fire their coach for Mike Vrabel.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it might be a better position for those guys to be in.
And it's funny, like, out of those three, obviously Belichick and Pete have a bigger resume. But I was surprised. Like, I can kind of see, and I would have hired Pete Carroll right away. Everyone knows I love Pete.
Yep.
But, like, I get if you're an owner, like, hey, this guy's pretty old. Like, how many years are we actually going to get out of him? If they don't know Pete, they probably don't realize that he has the energy of a 50-year-old.
Yeah.
But it's like, in Bill, like, there's a lot of baggage if you hire Bill.
Yes.
That's just the reality.
That seems pretty clear now
Okay.
that maybe some of the owners are like, actually, like,
I
you remember
don't.
the reporting? It's like, oh, Belichick's probably interviewing Arthur Blank. He's probably
Yeah.
like, no, I'm the owner. Like,
Yeah.
don't ever forget that.
Yes.
That I'm the owner.
So there's a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that, Hayes, because let's say Atlanta does hire him, and that's the narrative, hire Belichick, and they don't win. People can now start to point the finger at, like, well, it's not Belichick's fault. It's Arthur Blank. He's a bad owner. He's not giving this guy what he needs.
Yeah.
But don't
So-
you think
pressure that
one of
comes with
these
that.
coaches, like you were saying, they're waiting in the wings, and say the Bills have a slow start. You want to bring in like a closer, like, okay, we'll bring in Belichick for 1 year, or you bring in Pete for 1 year. Like, they don't have to be there. We see it all the time. Darryl Sutter took over in L.A., took them to a cup, like right for Terry Murray. Like, there are times, is it like that in football where it's like we need 1 year, 2 years out of a guy where our team is close, this guy's going to get us over top.
Definitely.
Right, so-
That's a big thing. But the problem is, like, will guys do it? Like,
Yeah.
because, again, and I just know the football world, but it's like if you make that call and it doesn't work out, everybody's getting Everybody's getting
Well, everyone gets
cleaned
fired
house.
anyway. I mean, it's wild what happens in the NFL
It's
right
disgusting. How important, Luke, is this for San Fran to, like, pick this one off? Because, like, if they don't again, does their window, like,
To me,
all of a sudden magically go up in smoke? Or
it's starting to. And, like, that, it's funny, but you want to talk about pressure right now, and everyone's got this Mahomes-Brady thing going on. Mahomes has got, if he stays healthy and if he wants to, another 10, 15 years of playing football.
now. Yeah.
The Niners are, I mean, this might be not to, the Bills fans are going to be mad at me, but this is going to get, if they do not win, it's going to get to a comparable level of the Bills going to 4 Super Bowls and not winning one. I mean, the Niners have been to the, NFC Championship 5 of the last 6 years? Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Them and Kansas City, they're basically mirror each other in the AFC and the NFC.
And can't win, to save their lives.
Yep.
And it's just like, soon, I mean, Brock Purdy's got another year, obviously, on a rookie deal, but, like, he's going to demand a lot of money. Guys are getting older. You can't keep all these stars and a quarterback. So the window is shrinking very, very quickly. And I think what's tough for San Fran is they do have the talent on both sides of the ball to be a dynasty. I was on Jay last night, and we were talking about, hey, is this Chiefs team similar to the Patriots as far as the dynasty goes? And I said there's 2 Patriot dynasties in Tom Brady's era to me,
Yep.
the early years and the later. I said to one of them, yes, they are.
Absolutely.
But, like, the Niners win, this should be, and talent-wise, has the ability to be a dynasty, or and they haven't gotten it done.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you'll recall back in 19, I believe they had an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, Garoppolo couldn't make the pass over the top, and that was the beginning of the end for Garoppolo. Mahomes and company established, like, we're here and we're the real deal.
Yes.
Like, watch for us. The rest is history for the Chiefs. And I think you're right. Like, from Kansas City's standpoint, they're kind of playing with house money here in terms of the fact that this was a down year, quote-unquote, with talent, doubters during the regular season. Then they beat Miami. They beat Buffalo. They beat Baltimore. It's like they made it to the top. Obviously, they want to get over the top. There's
Yes.
no question about that. But if they lose a tight game,
No question.
no one's going to doubt them next year. But the Niners, that probably speaks to why they're favored partially.
Yes.
But it's like there's an understanding, I think, Shanahan's got to get this one. Like,
Yes.
Shanahan's got to come up with a game plan. And he's put his chips he and John Lynch and the Niners, they put their chips into Purdy's hands, right?
Yes.
Like they're all in on Purdy here. And it may be a similar situation to what it was 5 years ago where they have a lead in the fourth, and it's like, Brock, you got to make one big play to close the deal.
Yeah.
And if it comes down to that and he fails, Purdy's going to take heat. A lot of people are going to say, I told you. But what is going to immediately come back is how could you put yourself back in this situation?
Yeah.
You were there with Garoppolo 5 years ago. He didn't close the deal. That's why you moved from him. And now you relied on Purdy. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a close game in the fourth, and we have a very similar situation.
If Shanahan gets a 10-point lead and they do not win.
Oh, it's because he was 28-3.
That's what I was going to say. So you lose that one, and I'm not saying it's just him, but then you lose the game. You said 11 to San Fran.
I think they were up 11 in the fourth quarter.
The Chiefs.
To the Chiefs.
Which I remember, I was at that one thinking, like, this game should be done.
Yep.
And that was also really bad ball late. And now all of a sudden, like you said, I mean, you've got this loaded roster, 1 million all-pros on it. Purdy has played wildly well all year, despite what anyone wants to say.
Absolutely.
And it's just like you got to find a way to get it done.
But if the moment's too big for him, the underpants cam comes out.
We got to get those. We got to get them back. You're
got to
right.
bring them back around.
You should have told. I wish you had that in Dan Campbell's ear last week when he was going for him on fourth down. Be like, hey, boss, what's gonna happen when you're up 17? The moment's gonna be a little tough for a guy, Kyle Shanahan.
I still believe there's some ego involved with that, with Campbell. Like, I'm going for this is how I'm doing it. Doesn't matter. Going down with the ship. You go down aggressive.
Yes.
But it's an ugly look. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's
every
tough.
time I think about it, Noodles, I get more and more enraged.
Tell you what, though, you pull it off, you're a legend. And you just didn't do it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's a fork in the road. It always is.
It is, man.
But he took a left turn, man.
But
and it's
even the whole, like, and there's this narrative, like, oh, he's been aggressive. It's been there all year. Like, that's what we do. There's so many more layers to this. Like, were you up 14 when you went for fourth down 3 weeks ago? Is that still considered being aggressive or just being idiotic? When you're up 14, you can go up 3 scores. Like, let's try and evolve the conversation. But I got all these Lions fans coming after me like, this is what we do. I'm like, well.
Yeah.
I know. I've
sitting
seen
at home
the
right
same
now.
thing. Those are your guys
Sitting
down
at
in the
home.
South, man.
They
Down
are.
in
They
Windsor.
are.
All right, the Super Bowl matchup confirmed. Now's your chance to back your favorite OverDrive duo, Hayes and Bro or Timo and Wilson. Tell us who is your Super Bowl pick and who you're backing. Follow us on Twitter at OverDrive1050 and tweet us with either hashtag Hayes and Bro or hashtag Owen Wilson, or text the keyword Hayes or ODog and your name to 105050. You'll have until Super Bowl Sunday at 1 p.m. to make your pick. On Super Bowl Monday, one lucky listener who tails the championship duo will win a $250 NFL Shop gift card and a pair of tickets to the Bills home opener in 2024. That's big.
Can we put a disclaimer on that? That no bots or Al's brother and one of his alt accounts.
He's working on it
can't
right
win
now.
this.
Yeah.
I believe he's in a port in like Peru right now,
Yeah.
and he's got
With a
things
computer.
moving
I'm
in the right
worried
direction.
Peru.
He's got
that he's
things
going to
moving.
spam it, bet
Yes.
both sides,
Yeah.
and just all of a sudden now give
Yes.
himself. We can't have that.
No.
When
So,
is he coming back?
I have no idea.
Doogie, you're going to have to get some spyware or something to weed this stuff
Yes,
We'll
out.
get to the bottom of it. Like I believe Al's brother. I think he's south of the equator. The bots are making their way down there.
in a wooden ship.
Things are changing. Things are moving. Things are shaking.
It's just nonsense.
It is
I
nonsense.
can't even I can't imagine what he's doing right now.
I can. I think he's prepared. I bet she's on the FanDuel Sportsbook app right now because we're going to have the spread, the total. We're going to have props.
It
We're doing
is.
that next week. You'll be in Vegas.
I'll be there.
All right, buddy. Safe travels. We're going to hook up with you, I think, multiple times next week. But we'll
I'll be
do
at
our
the
picks.
Pai Gow poker table. That's where I'll be.
All right, there you go, man.
It's the greasiest table of all. That
All time. It just sounds disgusting.
There's a porta potty right next to
It
the
sounds
table, and it's
disgusting.
just gritty.
All right, there he is, Luke Willson. Darcy Tucker's going to join us around the table. Your boy. You got to see him. I think he's
That is
around.
my guy.
All right, there it is.
Best Leaf player I loved growing up, right there.
It is. All right, OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We're live downtown, Boston Pizza. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan, and our Budsy. There he is.
There
Darcy
he is.
Tucker, our guy, joining us
Your
around the
guy.
table.
Yeah.
How we feeling, Tux?
Outstanding. Great to have the All-Star game here in Toronto. So the festivities are running all over the city, and we're going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
All right.
you're a man of the people. Go ahead, Noodles.
I've got
Go
a
ahead.
question for you right to start this off because I don't know if you heard this the other day, but I feel like we were doing a production meeting. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah,
We had a little meeting, which
big
is rare for
production
our
meeting.
group, but we.
You guys had a meeting.
And we're like,
Yeah,
hey,
we
we're
had a
doing on site, Boston Pizza, look at guests, and I don't know who it's, Steph or J-Mac. Somebody said like, well, how about Tucker? And they go, well, Hayes can reach out to him. And I was like, well, hold on a second here. Aren't you two buddies?
It's a total.
So then-
the friend stealing has come full circle.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I'm like, the friend stealing's official.
Yeah, it's big trouble for you. Trust me, Hazy and I spent a lot of time together in the summer playing golf.
I'm aware of it, but I'm aware of it.
We've become very, very good friends. I don't know if he's quite got to the upper echelon of O-Dog because we've spent a lot of time together over the course of our lives as well. But he's getting there, O-Dog. He's
There
pretty
you
darn
go.
close.
Hey, listen, I can't go back into the time machine. I can't be a time machine guy in the World Juniors in '95.
But has he
can't
ever
be a Leaf alumni like
Has
you
he
two.
ever stepped over the boundaries where you've had to write him and say,
Yeah,
we
no.
just golf together?
Yeah.
At no time.
Oh, okay.
He's got good boundaries, to tell you the truth. He does very well with those, and he's pretty good at the ribbing now from our
really?
golf course. Our golf course has a lot of guys that put a lot of heat on each other when they
yeah.
play, so he's getting in on
That's
it now.
up his alley. That's up his alley.
Generous. Oh, I learned from the best. These guys brought me in. I'm like, all right, this is how we're going to operate. This is how we're going to operate. Well, it's good to see you. This is probably as far as we're going to extend the boundaries. We're asking you to be here because I know you're a man about town. You're doing a lot of stuff. Like, what's your schedule looking like?
It's been crazy. It's been early morning this morning doing a bunch of stuff, and then Curtis and I played in a ball hockey game over at MLSE Launchpad. They had a bunch of young influencers, as they call them.
How'd your kneecaps handle that one? Not
Dude,
so.
I am so sore right now.
That's
Honestly,
embarrassing, I know.
Tomorrow is going to be even worse, and I'm only worried about it because I'm headed down to Florida next week to play some golf, and I don't want those old buggers digging in my pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
So I'm going to have to get some stretching. Might have to call Prebag over and get a little work ART done to make sure I'm ready to go when I get down to Florida.
Well, you're a cart guy down there, too. Right?
Yeah.
You're a cart guy everywhere. This guy, I told the story on the air. Last year, I show up, one of the first rounds of the year, and there's someone walking, like there's walking up towards the first tee, and I'm like, that looks like Tux, but it can't be. I've never seen him walk up here before.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm walking. I'm going to do it once or twice a week this year. How many times do you think you put in the
You
walk?
probably
Once.
walked back from the fairway on the first hole to get a card.
That was the last day, boys.
Yeah.
I walked it once, and I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And
It's awful. It's awful.
And it is so funny at our course. We all get our own cards. There's 4 guys, 4 cards on the fairway. We just drive to our own balls, hit them, and we don't talk to each other until we get to the next tee. O-Dog would appreciate that because usually he's on the green when we're still.
He's Trump.
and
Exactly.
It's so embarrassing.
And
Like,
he
This
just
guy
goes ahead, right?
On 18 green, he's pokeroo. Like everyone's going to shake hands. This guy's 2 wheels up. This happened last year. Remember this? He left a shoe in the parking lot. That's how fast he was out. I get up to his parking spot. I'm like, that's your shoe. dude."
Once the round's over, there's no need to hang around. I'm not staying for beers or anything. I'm going home.
you're out of there.
a shoe in the parking lot.
And will not partake in any of the betting scenarios.
Not
I want
a
to play my
chance.
own ball. I want to shoot 70, and I want to get the heck out of
That's
here.
right.
That's O-Dog.
It's a breckie
And
ball on one, too.
there-
There's a couple going out into the
Breckie
fairway.
ball.
Yeah.
It's a
Where's
breckie
the
on
conversation level at? Is it just minimum or what?
It's minimum until we get to the tee block, and then we have our conversations, and then off we go to our ball.
Yeah.
There's no screwing around there. It's not like O-Dog where you get to hit a ball and then have the guy drive over it with the lawnmower.
Right.
And then
Remember
pretend
that?
like you shot 68, but even though you shot 73.
I mean, if a guy drives over your golf ball, you're allowed to place one down. I thought that was a standard rule.
Is it?
It's a known fact when you
Somebody
see the
would
guy
call the
do it.
line. Somebody would call the line on you if this was a
Oh, it wouldn't
PGA.
fly in our group.
No, at
chance.
no time. You
No
play
chance.
it as it lies.
Yeah, found it. Oh, really? That's shocking behavior. Darcy Tucker around the table. Were you here? Like, you got traded 99-2000.
Yep.
All-Star game was 2000. Were you here yet, or were you still down in Tampa?
I think I was in Tampa still. I think I can't remember if I was here or not. I remember that Mats was in the game. And
Yuskevich was in the game.
Yuskevich was in the
Dimitri
game.
Yuskevich?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Oh,
Blocking
yeah.
shots? What was he doing?
The boys were putting it all on the line.
Was that when it was World versus North America?
I don't think it.
I don't remember.
I think it was still East versus West or something like that at that time. I think. What year did you end up going?
I think 2002.
Wasn't it in Florida?
Yeah, it was.
Was that
It
East versus West, or was that North America versus?
That was East versus West.
Okay.
All right, so it still would have been.
I
think at that
think
point.
so too, for sure. But yeah, it was. I don't know if I was in the city, but I was in Tampa when they had the All-Star game there when Wendell was our representative from the Lightning, and it was a lot of fun. We ended up staying for the All-Star game that year at home and watching it. It's a pretty cool event, obviously, if you can be a part of it. The one year that I had a chance, Thomas Caberlet actually took a slap shot from the point and broke my foot. It was the year I had 19 goals at Christmas, and I think I got 3 the rest of the year. Cabby never shot the puck. I didn't know what the heck happened to me. I felt the bees in my foot, and I'm like, there's no way Cabby actually shot that, and for sure he shot it. So he couldn't break a pane of glass with that shot, so I know it broke my foot.
No one more famous, like, the crowd, you guys always talk about it when people are yelling, shoot. Like, Caberlet defined that for about 10 years in
But he was
Toronto.
such a good passer.
He
He
was a great
usually
passer.
made a good play with it.
Absolutely. I'm not saying the fans knew what they were talking about necessarily,
No.
but they would yell at him the whole game.
I'd be more surprised. I would thought that's Caber. Because
Caber
Caber
breaks
just
your
shot
foot, no one's surprised.
It would have been my teeth gone. He's shooting it up in the air, but no, Cabby was such a good passer. Me and Matt's had him so trained, it was just pass it to the two of us.
Yeah.
Cabby's like, pass it to you guys? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And he'd just do it every time. One-timers
funny.
everywhere.
Darcy Tucker around the table. Yeah, you used to always say, like, what was it, Brian Thomas, you're up. What did he say? Who was it?
Ricky Lee.
What would he say on the bench?
Tom, Bryan, you're out.
That's all I ever heard him say.
Nobody else. As soon as a power player penalty kill, Tom Bryan.
you're out. It's a good go-to move.
Hey, listen, you guys won a lot of games with that philosophy, right?
Remember when Ricky Lee had that sweater on the bench? I don't know if you'd have been here yet. He hurt his shoulder and had shoulder surgery. And he had a bear sweater on the bench. And the boys were dying laughing. Tom Bryan. The itchy sweater on.
Yeah,
I was not there for that. I could only imagine the abuse that he would have taken for that, though.
You don't see that too much. Like, Torts will rock a sweater,
But
like
he wears
a vest sometimes.
he wears a
behind the bench.
blazer with a sweater like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
But it's a classy look. Rob Fatorik was the guy.
Yeah, he
was
had a
sweater
sweater
guy on
Yep.
the bench. And remember, he had the meltdown. He threw the sticks and the bench onto the ice. I think
Right.
He was definitely sweating after that one.
Yeah,
It's crazy how, like, you see the guys now when there's the meeting rooms like the NFL. And I told these guys earlier, I can remember where an assistant coach would walk out and be like, there's some tape rolling of the power play if you want to go look at it.
If you throw it on the floor, if you guys want to look at the power play clips, we'd have to figure out the VCR.
It's from the first period of the previous game.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a different world now, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can pull up anything. You get your shifts
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
right after the
It-
game on your
On
own
the iPad.
personal. Well, you
That's
guys
something,
get 3
Tux, I would feel valuable is after the game. I can't stand when these kids are looking at the iPads during the game because
Yeah.
I don't think it can do you any good. It's
Right.
so fluid and no play's ever the same. I think it's like for selfish kind of ego reasons why they're looking at that iPad saying, oh, you should have passed the I hate the iPads, but I would have felt it to be valuable after the game, going to the hotel to
Yeah.
say, I want to see my shifts. I was either good or bad, and what can I do better?
Absolutely.
But during the game, I think it's nonsense.
Yeah, I don't like it in game. I would like it in game as a coach, obviously.
Yeah.
But as a player, I don't think it benefits you as much as they think it benefits the players. But like you said, I'd love to, because I used to go home and when I played for the Leafs and they had the rewind on,
Yeah.
I'd go home, sit in the tub, and watch the game just to see, like, okay, was I seeing what I thought I saw in the game? So getting those clips right after the game for not only your line, but also to see how you did it during the game with your play defensively, because sometimes defensively you miss assignments and you wonder why you missed them.
Right. And that can probably swing both ways, right? We put a negative connotation on that, like, oh, I want to watch because I made a mistake. But you could also probably reinforce, oh, no, I had that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I did know what I
Sometimes
was
it's a
doing there.
lot better than what you think you were, and sometimes it's a lot worse. Sometimes
right.
you think you played pretty good. And I used to sit down with an assistant coach, and I'd be going over clips saying, God, I was horrendous last night, where you thought you were not bad.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know what? I feel like today, and it is because of information, because of technology, it's paralysis by analysis or
Yeah.
over-analysis because there's so much information out there. Sometimes you have heard guys go, just go play with your instinct. If you want to look at your spacing or whatever, hey, we'll push that to you. I laugh because I remember talking to a coach. I'm not going to say the guy's name, but he's an NHL player. They push, workouts. They push everything to your phone, to your iPad. and they can track it to see if you opened it.
If you opened it or
The
not.
guy didn't open his workout plan the whole summer.
No.
The whole summer didn't work.
I don't know anybody at this table would have done it.
No, you'd never do that. That's where you got to pay someone to doctor the phone. Like it's like
You gotta
CIA
click
stuff.
on it at
You
least.
got to at least open it.
Do
Like at
yourself
least
a favor
open
and
it.
open
But
it
That's where O-Dog's assistant would come in.
Yes.
Absolutely. His assistant in the summer would have looked after
Right.
that piece of the puzzle.
Fake videos, everything.
Yep.
That's an errand you
well,
need
the
run
other
by
thing
the
is
assistant.
those sleep monitors. Like if somebody was staying in, the guy's wearing 9 of them to go to bed, and the guys who go out put him on his arm.
Right, exactly.
So,
They're
that
all
guy-
getting some rust.
Yeah, they all had the same sleep last night. Wow, that's
Perfect.
amazing.
Darcy Tucker around the table. We have our boy Jason Strudwick on a lot.
Yep.
You know Struddy from back in the day.
Yep.
How many did you won 2 Mem Cups with him?
2
or
with him.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 with Struddy.
Yeah, because Struddy's the man. We love Struddy on this show.
my God.
Struddy's an amazing guy. He was always the kind of the life of the party. He was always arranging things when we were in junior. He was like the team concierge. He made sure everybody was looked after because half the time he was only playing 2 to 3 shifts his first year. So he
Right.
made sure the parties were looked after and not everybody was made sure everybody was going where they're supposed to go.
Yeah, Tyson
That's the way it
Nash.
should be.
Tyson, I don't know if you're on that when Tyson Nash tells a story where Struddy fought a guy named Paul Ferrone.
Yep.
And Struddy came in third in the fight. And Nash was like, he knocked his hairpiece into the 17th row. He said, like, I guess this Ferrone was as tough as nails
Oh, yeah.
back in the day.
I never went near Struddy in my playing days.
Struddy's
'cause
a tough
I
kid.
was
Struddy's tough.
The
Yeah.
name, he reeked of a Western Hockey League player.
Yeah.
The name, everything. He was a big, tall guy. I'm like, that is danger zone, and I'm just not going near that.
He was so good defensively, but he could not get the puck down the ice, even if he had a bucket attached to the end of his stick. He was so bad with the. I put my
What do you mean, like on a penalty kill, getting it
anything. He just bumbled it all over the place. I used to put my glove on my stick in practice and hold it up here and be like, "Feed me, Struddy," because it was coming a million miles an hour and head high.
Yeah.
We
high and hard,
gotta,
but
we
he
gotta
made
bring
it.
up his passing the next time we talk.
Oh,
about it.
Oh, we do, man. We bring
Terrible.
up basically everything when we have him on. But
Yeah.
so what's your plan? You're going to be down here all weekend? What
Yep.
are you thinking? I mean,
Yeah,
this is exciting stuff.
So I'm headed over to Scotiabank Arena as we speak for the Tannenbaum get-together and dinner, and we're
Yep.
going to watch some of the festivities over there tonight and take in some more festivities tomorrow. And I've got different podcasts and things that I'm going to partake in and see where it goes from there. But you know, this weekend being in Toronto, it's pretty huge for the city.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You look around and how many fans are going to enjoy the process of seeing other players from other teams come in here and put on a show. It's pretty special.
It's going to be awesome.
I got one last question for you. What's your alumni coat routine? Because you just wear it to the box, or do you actually wear it out in public? Because I know somebody who does.
I haven't worn it out in public. I've worn it to the game and
Yeah.
then went out in public.
Okay. That
And-
counts.
And,
Counts.
and
That counts.
Had dinner and
Yeah.
other such things.
I
And
love it.
So you're
hung out
outside
with
of
friends.
the alumni box with the alumni jacket on.
Absolutely. Now, I wouldn't
See,
put
I
it-
said last year, and these guys think I'm nuts for saying this. If there's like a reception type outdoor party in the summertime,
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with firing it up.
like,
Which one? The blue one or the gray one you had custom made?
you
Well,
had
either
his
or.
own
He's got his own
tarp
custom
made?
made.
He's got a custom made alumni jacket.
Does it have a
You gotta
90?
keep it down on that one's low pro. That's low pro.
That thing
You
is-
gotta lock that one up.
That's the Pacific Mall
You-
custom.
Is it a strictly 92 with a Leafs alumni logo on it, or
got
what?
it.
He's got his face on the inside of it.
You're dodging the question. I just don't think if there's some kind of summer party, outdoor event, it's a nice jacket.
All
It's a
right.
prestigious jacket.
Go
I have
ahead.
no problem
I'm,
wearing it.
I'm gonna ask Shannon if I should wear it to my daughter's wedding this summer
Yes.
and
Yeah.
like have it on during the wedding.
I love that.
Walk her down the aisle in the Leafs alumni. That is a move.
I
That
love
guy-
that.
just
No,
saying,
Doug?
there
I
might
love
be.
that.
I think it's a boss move because people are like, that is deadly, that jacket. That's Darcy Tucker right there.
I like it, although she's marrying into the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh,
is
I
she
know.
not?
Yeah, I got some Montreal Canadian stuff around the garage in the summer. It's gets
You're
a
a
little,
Habs alumni too, though.
Yeah.
I can take that on. I wouldn't say what I did in Montreal was anything close to being named an alumni of the team. But
You're not holding a torch.
not,
on opening night?
100% not. No. But yeah, it's exciting. The kids played well this year. Got an opportunity to get called up last week, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens after the All-Star break if he goes back up and joins the club again.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Well, Tux, thanks for doing this, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Into Feb, so the golf game, get cooking down there in FLA.
Oh, I
and
can't
it's
wait.
Almost go time.
The 8th of Feb. I'm ready to roll, boys.
It's almost go time. We're getting close. There he is. Darcy Tucker, ladies and gentlemen, joining us around the table. Alumni jacket, acceptable.
Yeah.
Alumni jacket, acceptable.
I got my boy.
There you go. Yep. We're live at Boston Pizza. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050N on TSN 4. All right, so we're giving away tickets. Leafs Blues February 13th this week. Those are the tickets up for grabs. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro Canada. Today's player of the day, it seems natural, is Darcy Tucker.
Yes.
Darcy Tucker is your Maple Leaf player of the day. So there you go. Tux and Shane Corson, I think, earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Brother-in-laws, of
Big
course.
names, yeah.
Yeah, so it's great to see Darcy. We appreciate him joining us. I mean, he's heading right back over there, right? We got Rhett Warner coming up.
Yes.
Right? Rhett's in the house. Rhett's going to join us around the table. Get into that Flames Canucks deal last night.
That Tux, he's on the full circuit right now.
He's doing the
He said he
rounds.
started
Floor
at-
hockey at 6:30.
He said
must have
started
been
at-
loving
yeah,
that.
6
Oh, yeah.
a.m. he said he started. Like, that is a full circuit.
I know. Well, that's why you're asking boundaries. I shot him a text earlier in the week. I don't know his schedule. I just said, "Are you
Yeah.
going to be downtown?" Nice enough. Like, that's great of him to come, but he's
yeah.
probably like, I guess
Guess I could squeeze you in.
I'll come over there. But, yeah, we got Rhett Warner coming up. Megan Chake is coming up. We got a final hour down here at Boston Pizza. People are buzzing.
Yeah.
People are excited. And it's All-Star Weekend, the Super Bowl a week away. There you go. People in the background still jacked up. We're here courtesy of FanDuel. Boston Pizza Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.